Good morning, students. Have you finished your prayer? Thank you. நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். Okay, students, take your social science book. Come to page number 136. We will move to the next topic, the peninsular plateaus. So the physiographic division of India. So we are seeing the physiographic division of India. In previous classes, we saw about India's location and why she was called a subcontinent. Then about the great northern mountains, especially the Himalayas. Then last class we saw about the great northern plains. Yeah. So let me ask some questions in that. So how was the northern plains classified based on the sediments deposited? Yeah, Babar Plain, Tarai Tract, Bangar Plains, Khadar Plains and Delta. So among these plains, so which one consists of newer alluvium soil? Yeah, Khadar Plain. So Khadar Plain consists of newer alluvium soil. Then Delta. So the delta formed by the Ganga and Brahmaputra river was called as Sundarban Delta. So which is the biggest and fastest growing delta? Yeah, Sundarban Delta. Yeah. So among the great northern plains, so which plain covers the more area? Ganga plain. Yeah. So the total area covered by the Ganga plain was 3.75 lakh square kilometer. Okay, students. Now move into the today's topic. The peninsular plateau. So this plateau region lies to the south of the great northern plains. So previous class we saw about the great northern plains, no? So that is the Gangetic plain. Yeah. To the south of that great northern plains, the peninsular plateau lies. Yeah. This is the largest physiographic division of our country. Yeah. So how? Because it covers an area of about 16 lakh square kilometer. So about half of the total area of the country. So what was the total area of our country? Tell approximately. Yeah, 32 lakh square kilometer. So accurate area of our country is 32 lakhs 87,263 square kilometer. So among that, peninsular plateau alone occupies 16 lakh square kilometers. That is half of our country was the peninsular plateau only. Then it is an old rocky plateau region. So it was an old one. So Himalayas are newly formed young fold mountains. But the peninsular plateau was called as old rocky plateau region. Why? Because while studying Himalayas, we learned that Himalayas were formed when the Gondwana landmass coincided with the Angara landmass. So the resultant was the formation of Himalayas. So can you remember that? Yeah. So that Gondwana land region only now called as peninsular plateau. So the peninsular plateau was the landmass of Gondwana. Yeah. Then the topography consists of series of plateaus, hill ranges interspaced with river valleys. So the topography means it's a physical structure. If you see the physical structure of the peninsular plateau, it consists of series of plateaus. Yeah, so a lot of plateaus are there. So we will see one by one. Then and hill ranges. So continuous hills, continuous mountains were seen. They were diversified. They were interspersed. That means they were intersected at many places through many river valleys. Then the Aravalli Hills. So if you see the boundary of the peninsular plateau, so in the northwest region you can find the Aravalli Hills. Yeah, so near Rajasthan. So to the southeast of Rajasthan, Aravalli Hills is there. Yeah, so if you see through peninsular plateau, in northwest region you can find Aravalli Hills. In north and northeastern boundaries, the Bundelkhand upland, Kaimur and Rajmahal Hills were there. Yeah. So in peninsular plateau, the northern and northeastern region were Bundelkhand upland, Kaimur and Rajmahal Hills. So if you see west and the eastern side, it was the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Yes, act as the boundary. Yes, and the western and eastern side, Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats forms the boundary. Yeah. Then if you see the altitude of the plateau. So most of the region, so most of the plateau is more than 600 meter from mean sea level. So the altitude of a large portion of the plateau is more than 600 meter from sea level. Then the peak of Animudi is the highest point in the plateau. Yeah. So in Peninsular Plateau, so which is the highest peak means it was Animudi. Yeah. Then its height is 2,695 meter and is located in Animalai. So it was in Kerala. Yeah, so the peak of Animudi, it is the highest point in the plateau, so which is located in Animalai. Yeah. Then the general slope of the plateau is towards east. That is, its height is decreasing from west to east. So if you see the height of the plateau, it is high in western region. If you move towards east, means it is slightly decreasing. Okay. Then the Great Plateau is a part of the Gondwana, very ancient one landmass. Yeah, so if you take whole India, the northern Great Plains and the Himalayas were the youngly formed, that is newly formed. They were formed just few millions years ago only. But the Gondwana land was very ancient one. Okay. So due to the old age, the rivers in this region attained their base level and developed broad and shallow valleys. Due to their old age, the rivers in this region attained their base level and developed broad and shallow valleys. So if you compare Kaveri with the Ganga means, so Kaveri is the oldest river. So Ganga was a newly formed river only. So it was a new river. So according to geology, so Ganga was the newly formed river. So Kaveri, it was the old river. Okay. Then the river Narmada divides the plateau region of India broadly into two parts. So river Narmada so runs through the middle of India. It divides the plateau region into two halves. The region lying to the north of the Narmada is called the Central Highland. So the Peninsular Plateau was divided into two by the river Narmada. The region lying to the north of the Narmada is called the Central Highlands, and the region lying to the south of Narmada is called the Deccan Plateau. Yeah. So the region lying to north of Narmada is called the Central Highland, and the south of Narmada is called as Deccan Plateau. So all the major rivers, so Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, etc., lying to the south of India's flow eastward and fall into Bay of Bengal. So all the major rivers. So do you know the major rivers of South India? Yeah, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Vaigai, Tamarabarni. So a lot of rivers were there. So they flow eastward and fall into Bay of Bengal. But the rivers Narmada and Tapti are the two rivers situated to the south of the Vindhyas flow westward. So all the major rivers which located south of Vindhya range flow to Bay of Bengal, except the two rivers Narmada and Tapti. So they were situated to the south of India's flow westward, because their movement towards west is due to the presence of a rift valley in this region. So there is a rift valley. So because of that only, the Narmada and Tapti move towards west and drain into Arabian Sea. In this picture, you can notice the Peninsular Plateau. So the mostly occupied, so the large physical division of India, the Peninsular Plateau, are shown in this picture. The Central Highland. So the Central Highland lies between the river Narmada and northern Great Plains. Already we saw river Narmada divided the Peninsular Plateau into two. So the northern part was called as Central Highland, the southern part was called as Deccan Plateau. So the Central Highland lies between river Narmada and the northern Great Plains. So what are the boundary, or what are all in the Central Highland? So what are the ranges, what are the hills are found in Central Highland? So if you take in the western and northwestern side, it was the Aravalli Hills. So the Aravalli Hills, it forms the west and northwestern edge of the Central Highland. So these hills extended from Gujarat. So the Aravalli range starts from Gujarat and pass through Rajasthan and reach and almost near to Delhi. So these hills, Aravalli Hills, extend from Gujarat through Rajasthan to Delhi in the northwesterly direction for a distance of about 700 kilometers. So the Aravalli Hills runs in a northwestern direction for a distance of about 700 kilometers. The height of these hills is about 1500 meters in southwest. That is, if you see the height of the hills in Rajasthan or Gujarat region means it was 1500 meters. While near Delhi, the height is hardly 400 meter. That is, its height is decreasing from southwest to northeast direction. Yes, its height is decreasing from southwest to northeast direction. Yeah. Delhi, near Delhi, the height is hardly 400 meter. Then Guru Shikhar with 1722 meter is the highest peak of this range. In Aravalli, the highest peak is Guru Shikhar. So the height is 1722 meter. Now tell, so which is the highest peak of the Peninsular Plateau? Yeah, Animudi. So the height of Animudi is 2695 meter. Yeah. Then, so the western part of the central highland is known as the Malwa Plateau. Yeah, so Malwa Plateau is there. That is which located just below, that is southeast of Aravalli is the Malwa Plateau, and it is to the north of Vindhyachal range. Yes, so Vindhya Satpura mountain range is there. To the south, to the north of Vindhyachal range, and to the southeast of Aravalli is Malwa Plateau is there. The rivers Chambal, Betwa and Ken drain the Malwa Plateau before they join the river Yamuna. So the rivers like Chambal, Betwa and Ken, so they drain the Malwa Plateau before they join the river Yamuna. You see Yamuna, one of the tributary of river Ganga. Yeah. Then the part of the central highland which extend from the east of Malwa Plateau is known as Bandalkhand. Yeah. So first the Aravalli. So they formed the western and northwestern edge of the central highland. Then southeast of that you can find the Malwa Plateau. Then towards east of the Malwa Plateau you can find Bandalkhand. So the Malwa Plateau east direction you can find Bandalkhand, and its further extension is known as Bagalkhand. So east of Malwa Plateau is Bandalkhand, and its further extension is the Bagalkhand. Yeah. Then the eastern part of the central highland which lies in the northeastern part of Indian Plateau is known as the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Yeah. So if you come extreme east of the central highland you can find the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Yeah. So Chota Nagpur Plateau, so it covers much of Jharkhand, then few parts of Odisha, West Bengal, Bihar and Chhattisgarh. Yeah. So Chota Nagpur Plateau, so it is very rich in minerals. Yeah. So especially iron ore and coal. So if you take most of the iron and steel industries are located in these states only. So Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Bihar, Chhattisgarh. So because the Chota Nagpur Plateau is rich in mineral resources, particularly iron and coal. Yeah. So if you take central highland, so it lies between Narmada and northern Great Plains. Then if you see the west and northwestern part, it was occupied by Aravallis. To the east of Aravallis, it was the Malwa Plateau. Then to the east of Malwa Plateau, then it was the Bandalkhand, and Bandalkhand's further extension was Bagalkhand. And if you come farther east, yeah, so you can find the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Yeah, so just remember like an order: Aravalli Range, Malwa Plateau, Bandalkhand, Bagalkhand, then Chota Nagpur Plateau. So these are the plateaus that are found in the central highland. So this slide shows the central highland. Yeah, so you can find in north western part Aravalli range. So next to that rivers Chambal, Betwa, like that. Near that you can find the Bandalkhand, then the Kaimur Hills, then Bagalkhand, Chota Nagpur Plateau. Yeah, so these are the plateaus and ranges found in the central highland. So this is Guru Shikhar, so the highest peak in the Aravalli range. So it is located in which state? Yeah, Rajasthan. So in Rajasthan, so Guru Shikhar is the highest peak. Deccan Plateau. So this physiographic division is the largest part of the plateau region of India. Solid Peninsular Plateau. So it occupies the half of the Indian subcontinent. So half of the India's area was the Peninsular Plateau. So among the Peninsular Plateau, when compared to Central Highland, Deccan Plateau is the largest part. So almost South India was wholly under Deccan Plateau only. The southern India was mostly covered with Deccan Plateau only. Then the shape of this plateau is roughly triangle. So Deccan Plateau is roughly triangle in shape. So one of the side of this triangle is marked by the line joining Kanyakumari with Rajmahal. So triangle, so how to draw a triangle. So three sides are there. So one side of this triangle is marked by the line joining Kanyakumari with Rajmahal Hills. So Kanyakumari, at most that is the southern tip of our country. So Rajmahal Hills, it is in the northeastern part. So the line, if you consider it as a triangle. Deccan Plateau is a triangle means, so one line starts from Raj Mahal and ends Kanyakumari, and this line passes through Eastern Ghats. Then the second arm is marked by the Satpura range, Mahadev Hills, Maikal range, and the Raj Mahal Hills. That is, this line is drawn in northern part of Deccan Plateau. Then the third arm, if you draw in western side, is marked by the Western Ghats. Yeah, so towards the west, it is Western Ghats. Then the area of this plateau is about 7 lakh square kilometer, and the height ranges from 500 to 1000 meter above sea level. Yeah, so the height of this plateau is 500 to 1000 meter. Then the total area occupied by Deccan Plateau is 7 lakh square kilometer. So what is the total area occupied by Peninsular Plateau? Yeah, 16 lakh square kilometer. Yeah, so Deccan Plateau covers 7 lakh square kilometer. So this slide shows the Deccan Plateau. So you can find the eastern edge, so marked by Eastern Ghats, and the western point marked by Western Ghats, and the northern point, so Vindhya Satpura, Mahadev Hills, Maikala range, like that. Yes, you can find in the northern part of the Deccan Plateau. So roughly triangular in shape. The Western Ghats. So the Western Ghats forms the western edge of the Peninsular Plateau. So the Peninsular Plateau, it occupies half of the Indian subcontinent, and it forms the Western Ghats forms the western edge of the Peninsular Plateau, and it runs parallel to the Arabian Sea coast. So you see Arabian Sea in western part of Indian continent, yes, Indian subcontinent. So the Western Ghats run parallel to the Arabian Sea. Yeah. Then the northern part of the Western Ghats was called as Sahyadris. The northern part of this range is called as Sahyadris. Then if you see the height of the Sahyadris, it increases from north to south. Yeah, so when compared to north, so the height of the Western Ghats is more in southern side. Yeah. So Animudi is a sort of tri-junction of the Animali range, the Cardamom Hills and the Palani Hills. So Animudi, so it is a junction. So three hill ranges meet here. One is Animali range, another one is Cardamom Hills, and another one is Palani Hills. Okay. So in Palani Hills only the famous hill resort Kodaikanal situated. Yeah. So Animudi is a sort of dry junction. That is, it is a place where three hill ranges meet. So three junctions. So three. The tri means three. Three hill ranges meet. So one is Animali range, another one is the Cardamom Hills. In Tamil, it was called as Yalakai Malai. Okay, so Cardamom, so Yalakai, and the Palani Hills. Yeah. So in Palani Hills only the famous Kodaikanal, so a beautiful hill resort was located. So Palani means, don't think that Lord Muruga's temple, Palani. Yeah, so it is another Palani. Here they mention about the hill range. So Palani Hills, it is a continuous range of hills. In that hills, Kodaikanal is a famous hill resort. Okay, wow. The Eastern Ghats. So the Eastern Ghats run from southwest to northeast, form the eastern edge of this plateau. So the Deccan Plateau, the Eastern Ghats, so form the eastern edge of this plateau. So the range is called as Purvadri. So the Eastern Ghat range is called as Purvadri. So which part of Western Ghats range is called as Sahyadri? Yeah, northern part. Yeah, the Eastern Ghats range is also called as Purvadri. So don't confuse. So Sahyadri, Purvadri. So the northern part of Western Ghats range is called as Sahyadri. The Eastern Ghat range is called as Purvadri. Then the Eastern Ghats join the Western Ghats at the Nilgiri Hills. So do you know Nilgiri Hills? Nilgiri district. Yeah. In Nilgiri district only, the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats join. Yeah. So it was bordering Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Then the Eastern Ghats are not continuous like the Western Ghats. So Western Ghats, it is a continuous range. Only a few gap is there. Okay, but Eastern Ghats was not like that. So there are several breaks. So there are several area which were dissected. Yeah. So why means, because the rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Pennar and Kaveri so have dissected. So that is cut the Eastern Ghats at many places. Yeah. So many rivers originate in Western Ghats and run through the plateau region. So the Deccan Plateau, and they bisect Eastern Ghats at several places. Okay, students. So today's class we saw about the Peninsular Plateau. Yeah. So till now in physiographic division of India, so we have came across so three divisions. So one is the northern mountains, another one is northern Great Plains, and then Peninsular Plateau. Okay, so if you have any doubt, just contact me. Yeah. So tomorrow's class we will see about the coastal plains. Thank you.
As you may know, plateaus are also called tablelands. The Peninsula Plateau is also a tableland. This tableland was formed when Gondwana land broke and the pieces drifted apart. Gondwana land is the southern part of the ancient supercontinent Pangaea, with Angara land in the northern part. Thus, the Peninsula Plateau is part of a very old landmass. This is also evident in the composition of the plateau. It is composed of old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. What kind of relief would you find on a tableland? The Peninsula Plateau consists of both broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. Based on the relief, the Peninsula Plateau has two broad divisions: the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. Let's check out these areas on the map. The Central Highlands refer to the portion of the Peninsula Plateau that lies to the north of the Narmada River. It covers a majority of the Malwa Plateau. The Vindhya Range forms the boundary of the Central Highlands on the south. The Aravallis form the northwestern boundary of these highlands. The Vindhya Range has a special significance because it divides India geographically into northern India or the Indo-Gangetic Plain and southern India. Moving a little west along the Vindhya Range, the Peninsula Plateau gradually merges into the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. Let's take a look at the rivers in this region. They are the Chambal, the Sindh, the Betwa, and the Ken. As they flow from the southwest direction to the northeast direction, they give you a fair indication which way the mountains slope in this region. If you observe the layout of the Central Highlands on the map, the highlands seem to be wider in the west than in the east. Let's move eastwards in the Central Highlands. You may have heard of Bundelkhand. The famous Khajuraho temples are in this part of the country. Bundelkhand is the local name for the eastward extensions of the Peninsula Plateau. The other eastward extension is Bhagelkhand. Further east, you will come across the Chota Nagpur Plateau. This is the eastern extension of the Central Highlands. The Damodar is an important river that drains this region. Now, we move on to the other part of the Peninsula Plateau, the Deccan Plateau. If you observe the shape of the plateau on the map, you will see that it is a triangular landmass lying to the south of the Narmada. The broad base of this triangle is in the north and the narrow tip of the triangle is in the south. The Satpura range borders this base in the north. On its eastern side, It has the Mahadev Hills, the Kaimur Hills, and the Maikal Range. The Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and slopes gently eastwards. In the northeast is an extension of the plateau, called the Meghalaya and Karbi Anglong Plateau. It is believed that due to the force exerted by the movement of the Indian plate at the time of the formation of the Himalayas, a huge fault was created. This fault demarcates the Meghalaya and Karbi Anglong Plateau from the Chota Nagpur Plateau. There are three prominent hill ranges on the northeastern side of the plateau. As you move from east to west, you can see the Garo Range, the Khasi Ranges, and the Jaintia Hill. Moving southwards over the Deccan Plateau, you will observe that it is bordered by Western Ghats on the west and the Eastern Ghats on the east. If you compare the ranges on both the sides of the Deccan Plateau, you will see a number of interesting differences. The Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast. They are continuous and can be crossed through passes only. For example, the Thal Ghat and the Bhor Ghat passes act as links between the interiors of the Deccan Plateau and Mumbai. Another pass, the Palghat Gap, found on the Kerala-Tamil Nadu border, serves as a major communication route between the two states. The Eastern Ghats stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. Unlike the Western Ghats, the Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular. They are interspersed with several rivers that drain into the Bay of Bengal. These rivers are the Godavari, the Mahanadi, the Krishna, and the Kaveri. Let's now compare the heights of the two ranges. The average elevation of the Western Ghats is 900 to 1,600 meters. On the other hand, the Eastern Ghats have an average elevation of about 600 meters only. Thus, the Western Ghats are taller than the Eastern Ghats. The height of the Western Ghats progressively increase from north to south. The highest peaks include the Annaimudi Peak, which is 2,695 meters tall, and the Doddabetta Peak, which is 2,637 meters tall. Compared to this, the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is the Mahendragiri Peak at 1,501 meters. The Shevaroy Hills and the Javadhi Hills are located to the southeast of the Eastern Ghats. The Shevaroy Hills are famous for thriving coffee plantations, pears, oranges, and bananas. Yercaud, a famous hill station, is also a part of Shevaroy Hills. The Javathi Hills are one of the largest ranges of Eastern Ghats. The map shows the location of some of the famous hill stations of this region: Udagamandalam or Ooty and Kodaikanal. An interesting feature of the Western Ghats is orographic rainfall. Orographic rainfall is caused when a range of mountains intercepts rain-bearing monsoon winds. The Western Ghats intercept the westerly monsoon winds, forcing these winds to deposit most of their rain in the windward side, which is the western side. Therefore, the area of the Deccan Plateau to the east of the Ghats receives very little rainfall. The Western Ghats are known in different regions by different names. For example, people in Maharashtra refer to the Western Ghats as the Konkan coast, while those in Kerala refer to them as the Malabar coast. One of the distinct features of the Peninsula Plateau is the black soil area, known as the Deccan Trap. The Deccan Trap is of volcanic origin. Did you know the volcanic beds of the Deccan Plateau were formed in the massive Deccan Trap's eruptions about 66 million years ago? The igneous rocks found in the region clearly indicate the volcanic origin of the Deccan Plateau. The black soil in the plateau was formed as these igneous rocks denuded over time. These were the two broad divisions of the Peninsula Plateau. But before we complete the discussion on the Peninsula Plateau, let's take a look at its northwestern margins. On the western and northwestern margins of the plateau, you will find the Aravalli Hills, one of the oldest ranges in the world. The Aravalli Hills extend from Gujarat to Delhi in a southwest to northeast direction. This range once had extremely tall hills. However, millions of years of weathering eroded them, and they are now broken hill forms.